Hello there. It's Loren from Tanglewood. I hope you're doing well and hope you've had a great year so far, all 2 days of it. Life has been wonderful here. It's beautiful as always. You can see I'm actually outside today. By popular request, I'm sitting here on a little patio outside my door. And I'm doing this because this will allow me to introduce some of the newest members of our family. Some of them are temporary members of the family. But in fact, I've got a little kitten over here that's hyperventilating. He injured himself last night, got stuck in a little tree and couldn't get out. I found him this morning and I think he's injured. So you want some water, buddy boy? Need some water? No? He's sitting in the sun, so I'm hoping he's not too hot, but he's hauling the one leg around like it's injured. It doesn't look like it's broken, but he's probably in some pain. So I don't know how long I'll sit here in the sun. It's a little hard to see the screen because it's so bright out here. Let's see. Jerry says, "Hi, Loren. Happy 2020. Would it be okay to eat a small meal of citrus alongside an avocado?" That works perfectly fine for most people. It doesn't work very well for anyone who has a candida problem. There's two problems with candida. You shouldn't be eating citrus, and you shouldn't be combining any sugar with any fat. But for any of us who don't have that issue, that should be no problem. So here's one of the newest members of our family. Hello there. I'm not naming these guys yet. Actually, we've named one of them. I'm not naming the rest of them because I don't know how long they're going to be with us. We have 5 little kittens, and we're probably not gonna keep them all. Hello, buddy. We already have 3 cats here, and I wasn't really planning on any more cats. So I'm thinking we're going to keep 2, but I'm not quite sure which. I'm going to put you down, buddy. Okay, let's see. Niall says, "Hope you're well." Yes, indeed, I'm quite well. It is not at all cold here, Niall. I can imagine what it might be like in Ireland right now, and hope you make it through until April or May when it starts to warm up a little bit. Let's see. Again, it's with so much glare. How often do you use Reiki? Do you use Reiki on yourself? I don't use Reiki very often anymore. I've never used it on myself very much, every once in a while. Honestly, I learned about Reiki after I was already fasting people, after Tanglewood existed. Tanglewood's been open 23 years, and I've been a Reiki practitioner for just over 20, I think, something like that. Hey, someone's playing with my foot. And so when I have any kind of an injury, I usually fast, and I've just done that. I would say to anyone that, well, first of all, Reiki doesn't heal the body. It just puts energy in the body, has to use that energy to heal itself. And my body is perfectly fine. I don't need to do anything other than just get out of its way. For some other people, it might be useful to have a tool like Reiki. And so, I offer it to people. I don't really push it here because I don't think most people need to do it if they're fasting, and B, I want people to know the power of the fast itself and not have them think it's because of the Reiki, which can be very powerful for sure. And C, my time is so limited. I'm not really. It's not like I'm looking for additional things to do. So if somebody really needs it or wants it, this, by the way, is the brother of the other one that you saw a little while ago. These two look pretty close to identical. One's got very short whiskers and the other one's got long ones. And of the 5, these are the first 2 that would purr whenever I would pick them up. There's one other one that will now, and the other 2 still are a little bit skittish. They just as soon not be held and don't seem that excited about human companionship. But the other 3 are pretty happy to be here. I don't know if you saw, I posted a picture yesterday on Facebook of me sitting here yesterday morning with all 5 of these kittens on my lap. They were all pretty happy at that point. Off the keyboard, please, buddy. All right, let me see here. So yeah, this is going to be a little hard to read all these questions if I sit here in the sun. Does coconut water combine well with any other fruit? No, coconut water is a meal by itself, and ideally would be consumed by itself, just as all other fruits are best done mono. Okay. James Ross came for Loren, staying for the cats. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think I've missed one or two. Okay, here we go. Oh, no. Leave that alone, please. Brought myself a glass of water, and one of the kittens was putting his paw in there. Don't really want that to happen. Let's see. What would be a guideline for maximum durian consumption while maintaining optimal health, frequency, and quantity wise? I'm going to the Philippines and don't want to overeat it. Yeah, it's frankly, it's going to be difficult not to overeat it. If it were me, I would probably overeat it at first, and then I would need to take a bit of a break. I mean, after I found that 4 days in a row, I've reached my limit. I don't want any more. I want a break after that. And maybe after a couple more days, I'm ready to have some more. But I think it's probably best, to eat durian no more than once every 2 or 3 days, ideally, something like that. Silly boy, stop chewing on the cable, please. Okay, stop that. Let's see. Do ever have meals of just pineapple? Yes. How do you stop the enzymes from burning your mouth? Well, so if the pineapple is fully ripe, then this is not so much of an issue. The problem is that pineapples do not ripen after they're picked. Now, I know some of you are going to want to argue with me because it seems like that's what's happening. They'll change color and they'll get softer, but they're breaking down. They're not actually ripening. And what that means is there won't be less acid and there won't be more sugar. Once they're formed, they're done. They're not going to ripen anymore once they've been picked. Some fruits continue ripening after picked, and some don't. And unfortunately, pineapples don't ripen once they're picked. So even if it looks like they do. So if you have one that was picked at the right time, it won't burn. I can easily eat a whole pineapple. If I get one that was picked too soon, and unfortunately, even here in Costa Rica, where the pineapples are amazing, the problem is that they're worth $3 to $6 on the to export, and so they're all picked for export. And then if they can't sell them on the export market, then they're sold locally. And so we're growing pineapples here, and we don't yet meet our own needs. But hopefully within a few years, we won't have to buy so many pineapples. And that means we'll be able to pick them when they're actually ready to be picked. Because even here in Costa Rica, when we buy them, there's a good chance we're getting something that was picked too soon. And again, if it's fully ripe, it's not an issue. Now, one key is don't eat the core. Okay, some people eat the core of the pineapple and it might taste sweet, but the core contains the most digestive enzymes, bromelain and papain, both of which are protein digesting enzymes. So they're actually going to start digesting your tongue if they're there in significant quantity, which they are if the pineapple didn't fully ripen. Okay, so I think I've reached my limit. It's warm here. I just sat down here when I got online. That was 10 minutes ago. It's that warm. It's the sun is, it's only 9 o'clock in the morning here, but the sun's intense. So I'm just going to move a few feet into the shade. This will work better for me. All right, sorry about that. I'm amazed at people who go spend hours sitting in the sun. I would frankly never want to. Now this, by the way, this is one of the kittens that we're going to be keeping, and this one is named Chai. It's the only one that actually has a name so far. Leave that alone, please. Leave that alone. Hey, buddy. So yeah, I'm sorry there's really no easy way to show you all of them at once, which would be cool, but come on, buddy, leave that alone. And he wants to get on the keyboard, of course. Um, every time I say I'm not going to get any more cats, and then I see kittens, and it's pretty hard for me to say no. They're so cute. Anyway, that's Chai. All right, let's see. Let me move on. Lots of comments here. Leave that alone, please. Oh no. Okay, never mind. The water's history. We had a cat fully with his paw and face in the water, so I'm not going to drink any more of that. Let's see. Can you create health and longevity if you include some raw meat in a high fruit diet? Which is better suited for the human body, cooked meat or raw meat? Can you debate Sverige live on YouTube? Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know of any really good way to say this, but I don't think Sverige could debate a chair. I mean, he's an idiot. I've never heard him make. I mean, I've only listened to 2 videos, but I couldn't listen to anymore. He didn't make a single intelligent statement. He has nothing to support anything he says. He's got no science. He's got no facts. He just makes the same ridiculous, idiotic claims over and over again without supporting them. That's not going to make for a very interesting debate. And frankly, I'm not going to waste my time talking to a moron. So I'm not going to be debating this guy. Hello there. In the meantime, I'll introduce you to another cat. This is one of the guys that's a little bit skittish, and I'm thinking about keeping this one too. Even though he's so far, I mean, once I've got him, he's friendly enough, but he doesn't purr yet when anyone touches him, and he's still sort of tries to run away most of the time. Yeah, I mean, coming back to your question. There's no animal products can be included in a healthy. I mean, the tiniest amount. Okay, the less you can include, the better off you are. Our bodies are completely different from those of carnivores or omnivores. Eating animal products means you age and die faster. It means you've got higher rates of disease. If you're interested in your health, you should not be consuming any animal products, even if the moron says otherwise. Okay. Again, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to be politically incorrect, but the guy, I mean, honestly, some people don't know how to support, don't know how to make an intelligent argument, and I don't. People believe most people believe whatever they want to believe, even in the complete absence of any logic or facts or science to support their argument. And he completely fits into that category. All the ridiculous things he says, they're nonsense. There's no, vegans are healthier than people who eat animal products, and science is clear about this. There's nothing in animal products we need. All the things he claims, you can't get this or that. That's nonsense. The only things we can get from eating animal products that we can't get from a raw vegan diet is cancer and heart disease. Okay, etc. Stop that. Again, playing with my foot, with his claws. On my toes. Okay, Matthew says, how long should you wait after finishing a meal before starting the next? You should wait till you're hungry, Matthew. You should eat one thing until you're satisfied, okay? Until your body doesn't want any more of that thing, or until your body doesn't want anything. And then you should wait until you get hungry. And that's likely to be 4 to 5 hours. We do not benefit from eating any more than we need to, and most people need to eat much less than they actually eat. So, yeah, it's not like, okay, has it been long enough I can eat something else? If you're still hungry, why didn't you keep eating whatever you were eating? Okay, that's the way to eat. What happens in nature? Look at the primates, the chimpanzees, the bonobos. The scientists study their scat, their poop, and there's 1 or 2 things in there at a time. That's it. Okay, and that's usually because they might eat some leaves with the fruit. They're eating 1 fruit at a time. That's the thing to do. That's how we're going to digest as well as possible. We're never going to come close to getting the same results if we're doing anything else. Okay, so be clear about that. Do durian, jackfruit, bananas combine well with any other fruits or only lettuce? Yeah, I mean, they combine okay with other sweet fruits. But the truth is, every fruit is best by itself. Everyone is best by itself. So, personally, I'm eating durian. I'm just eating durian. I'm eating bananas. I'm just eating bananas. As you may know, most of you may know this. I don't do a lot of mono meals of bananas typically because there are other things that my body prefers most of the time. But I've had mono banana meals the last couple nights, just bananas. Okay, that's the meal for me is going to be just bananas. That's what's always going to be best. You're going to digest it better, which means you're going to get more value from it. You're going to absorb and assimilate more nutrients that way. So that's always going to be the best way. Okay. All right. Let me see here. Matthew, another question. How long after a 21-day fast does someone typically keep eliminating old waste for? It varies from person to person. There is no typical, it depends. Hey, leave the cable alone, please. I have an internet guy coming over today to replace some cables that another one of the cats, not these kittens, but one of our mature cats chewed through. Maybe it was a mouse. Somebody chewed through the cable. I don't think it was one of my volunteers, but I could be wrong. So the kittens, of course, want to play with anything, including the internet cable. Yeah. So I'm sorry. What was the question? The question was how long after? Oh no! When I touch this thing, it's amazing how quickly it moves. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can. How long after 21-day fast? Yeah. How long does someone eliminate old waste? Come here, Chai. Come here, buddy. All right. Chai was playing with the glass, which I don't want to get broken. Again, that's going to vary quite a bit. Some people are going to have most of that stuff out after a week. Some people are going to take a month. Some people literally take 6 months or more to get it out. It just depends on the situation. And so it's very hard to generalize, as is often the case, because each of us is different. It depends on what you've been eating and for how long, and et cetera, et cetera. If your system is relatively clean, there won't be so much of this stuff. It won't be so difficult. Here, tell you what, you want to come up here, Chai, so people can see you? No, he doesn't want to come up there. All right. All right, the main problem with root canals seems to be bacteria living in the deep tooth. But if you had a clean system, that shouldn't be bacteria. No, root canals are unnatural and shouldn't be done. And if you have one, you should reverse it because you're creating a pocket which is unnatural. And that's going to become a problem. It's sure, the cleaner and healthier your system is, the less likely it is to be an issue. But it's still never a good idea. Okay, it's one of these things which is literally never a good idea. Something I simply wouldn't recommend doing and wouldn't do. What I think I'm going to do, I'm going to try coming over here a little bit and sitting on the ground, and then maybe you'll have more of a chance to see some of the cats if they come over here. Oops, there we go. Okay, come here, guys. Come here. Do you have many people come there with spleen issues? Well, it's one of those things. On the top of my head, still in the sun. There are probably more people come with spleen issues than we're aware of. I don't know how often people are actually diagnosed with spleen issues. It's not something I hear of very often where people say, I've got a spleen problem. But, my guess is like anything else, it's probably happening, right? It's probably happening. So we got 3 kittens here that are wandering around the computer. There's Chai again. Hello, Chai. And there's this guy. There's these 2 identical twins. I'm going to have to come down. You don't need to see me anyway, right? You can see the gray one back there behind me. So these 2 are both sitting here purring now. Hey, buddy. All right. I can't read the comments that way, unfortunately. What would you do if you had a root canal which wasn't causing any problems? I would take it out. Root canals are a terrible idea. and they're going to create issues. So my advice would be to undo any root canals that you have. I would take them out. I wouldn't keep them. I wouldn't maintain them. You're asking for trouble. There's enough evidence that they create problems long term. Okay, so I wouldn't do that. There you can see, got a couple of the guys here with me now. Again, unfortunately, it's hard to read the comments that way. That's the wrong angle. Do you know any insight on pineal gland opening and fasting? I don't know much about it. I don't really know much about it either, James. It's one of those things we can't really measure. So it's something that people talk about and believe is happening, but we don't really know. Here you go. Oh, you want to see that, right? I hope you write a book soon. I'm wondering, I've got most of a book done now. Of course, that's been true now for almost a year. I've just been so busy, I haven't had time to work on it lately. I'm wondering about the effects of eating at night before sleeping. I have at most a 4-hour eating window, eating fruits and soft greens. Well, that's great. Having a small window is a great idea. Eating shortly before you go to sleep is not a good idea. Okay, so you'd be much better off the meals. Stop that! Don't chew on that, please. Eating those meals earlier and not eating so late. That's never going to be a great idea. Okay. No, stop that, please. Stop that. Aloha to you, J.A. Pedro says, hi, Loren. What's your opinion on the use of ayahuasca for spiritual purposes? Well, I personally, so first of all, again, you don't need to see me. I'll give you this better view. Personally, I would say, first of all, remember that all plant medicines are toxic substances that the body reacts to in a way, you can't chew on that, please. The body reacts to in a way that creates some particular effect. And they're never good for us. They're not healing us. Is there some spiritual opening that occurs? Some people say so. I personally find that the way to create that spiritual opening is by being as conscious as possible. And I don't need substances to do that. In fact, for me, it's my spiritual connection has dramatically improved, grown since giving up all substances many years ago. The substances for me, and I tried all kinds of things, the substances for me weren't helping. They were just getting in the way. And I don't think they're ever really useful. So, if you choose to use them, that's your business, and I have no judgment around that. But they are toxic substances, and I don't really think we ever need to do that. I think it's about becoming as conscious as possible. And substances move us away from consciousness, in my opinion. All right. Azadi says, however, I've noticed that if I eat earlier in the day and allow a minimum of 4 hours pass before sleeping, I tend to feel much better. Yes, it's not in your head. No one should be going to sleep on a full stomach. It's always best to eat earlier in the day. No question. James says, what's the size of your salads? I try to keep them to a size that fits in the bowl. I found if it's bigger than the bowl, it becomes really messy. So I use a big bowl. I use a whole large head of lettuce, and then 2 or 3 beefsteak tomatoes if I'm using those, or I prefer cherry tomatoes, and an avocado. Maybe one other ingredient, something like that. So it's a pretty good size bowl. There'll often be 3 or 4 whole cucumbers. I like to spiralize them. I like the texture that way of the strings in there. But that's, yeah. Now, again, of course, the question for you really is, what size do you need to meet your body's needs? What you doing over there, Chai? Come join us over here. Okay, so I've got to read the next question. Keep it. Well, I've got 5 of them, and I don't think we're going to keep 5 more kittens, but we're going to keep 2, I believe. What would your advice? What would your advice be to people wanting to adopt a raw vegan diet but also struggling with an eating disorder? Well, they're two different things. I mean, I would say to those people, first of all, do the work to deal with the psychology, because eating disorders are emotional issues. So do that work and then eat optimally, right? No matter whether you have an eating disorder or not, you're going to be best eating an optimal diet. I keep grabbing them because they're playing with the cables. So I'd rather have them here where it's only this cable that's even close. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't, if someone has an eating disorder, they've got emotional issues, how are they still not going to be better off eating as optimally as possible? Right? I mean, but the first thing is, someone has to do the work to deal with he's looking at my foot, to deal with the emotional issues. If you don't do that work, it doesn't really matter what you eat. I mean, you're going to have issues no matter what you eat. You're still going to be healthier, but the first step is to do the emotional work to deal with the underlying issue, and that's not about what you're eating. Oh, big earthquake! I don't know if you could see that. We were just shaking like this for just a moment. Oh, still, yeah. Not a huge earthquake, but we have about 250 earthquakes a year here, I think, if I remember correctly. So every couple days there's one. Most of the time we never feel them. I'm not even aware of it until someone tells me, or I might hear about it. If I'm asleep, I'm going to sleep right through them most of the time. But that was the biggest one I felt in a while. All right, let's see. Again, I can't see the comments that way. Thanks, buddy. Ow! Stop that. He was licking my leg and then decided to take a bite. Love the cats. Also, they're so cute. Yes, indeed, they're incredibly cute. No doubt about that. Have you heard of incline bed therapy? Yes. Any opinions? No. Don't really know much about it, to be honest. As you probably know, my opinion is that the very best we can do, I'll give you the cat view, the very best we can do, generally speaking, is to simply get out of the body's way. I don't think we need to manipulate the body. I don't think we need to necessarily, to create, to be on an inclined bed or to do anything. There may be symptomatic benefits of doing those things, but that's a temporary thing. Ultimately, if we get out of the body's way, we can actually heal the underlying issue, and that's going to be far more powerful and empowering than dealing with something on a symptomatic basis. Not to say that you shouldn't use an inclined bed if that works for you, but again, the body heals itself. Period. End of story. Anything else is you're either suppressing symptoms or attempting to manipulate the body into creating a particular outcome. What is it, Chai? Let's leave the cable alone, shall we? Come here. I don't know why you keep insisting on doing that. Come here, buddy. Come here. All right. Can anything remove cat dander allergies? Yes. Fasting, getting your body as clean as possible, means it no longer overreacts to things that should be a minor issue. What's happening with allergies is there's an immune response where normally an immune response wouldn't be necessary. So fasting is the best way to allow the body to cleanse and heal itself from pretty much anything. All right, Jay says, any thoughts on is our food linked to our lust attraction? Yes, of course. Yes, absolutely. What we eat dramatically impacts how we feel emotionally. And often part of lust is there's an aggressive component, right? So, some people find that their libido dramatically declines when they change to an optimal diet. And they think that it's a problem, but what's happening is that the body is simply cleansing. And once clean, libido is strong and healthy. But hopefully, it's healthy in a loving way. So I personally, I have a strong libido, and I have no problem being sexually active for hours at a time and multiple times per day. But there's not the aggressive component that was there when I was a young man eating everything. That's gone, and that I think is probably directly because of a change of diet. No question about that. Okay, Blood Raven says, what's your opinion on people using coffee while fasting? Caffeine and nicotine seem to cause weight loss and cause heightened brain function. Caffeine and nicotine are powerful toxic stimulants. Okay, they're drugs that stimulate the body, and stimulants are never good for us. Never, ever. Yes, they are going to speed up your body, which is going to have you lose weight. They're going to speed up your metabolism. Your body's going to be dumping adrenaline. But why would you want to do that? I understand that there are people who want to lose weight that would do anything to lose weight, but that's not healthy. And I'm not interested in that. So, to me, using caffeine or nicotine while fasting is idiotic. It's really stupid and harmful to the body. It's counterproductive, and these are toxic substances that frankly nobody should ever consume. Of course, many people choose to consume them, although most people aren't really that committed to their health and don't have any idea what the impact of them is. Because what happens when you use these things, you always wind up depleting yourself. Okay, they don't increase your body's brain function. It's simply they're in the while you have this drug in your body, yeah, you're going to be a little bit more clear and a little bit more energized. But it's a temporary effect that leaves you more depleted afterward. No, thank you. Okay. For me, the key is to create an amazing level of health and vitality where I feel great all the time. So I'm not looking for a temporary effect. I don't need to go drink that cup of coffee before I do something because I need the benefit of that particular substance. My body's working, well enough. I've got like really good mental clarity all the time. And I'm working like 5 a.m. until 9 or 10 p.m. pretty much every day, which don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I love what I do. But I'm saying I can keep functioning mentally all day long with no problem and don't need these substances. Substances are never useful. There may be times. Oh, in fact, let me retract that statement. Some of you may know this story, but there have been a couple of times over the last 30 years where I've used caffeine to keep myself from falling asleep at the wheel and killing myself when I needed to get from point A to point B. I had a car and I needed to get someplace, that night. And I put myself in the situation, and the only safe way it seemed to be able to deal with it was by having this stimulant, because I was going to die otherwise. To me, that seemed clearly to be a reasonable trade-off. Keep myself alive by using something that's toxic, which my clean, efficient system can eliminate the next day, easily. But generally speaking, using this on an ongoing basis, or anytime, I'm not going to die if I don't have it, to me is clearly a mistake, counterproductive, and something I would never do. Okay. Nope. Let me see. Where were we? Okay. Ilak says, hi, Loren. I heard that fruit today has been grown to be sweeter and higher in sugars today. Do I have to mind this? You don't. You don't have to worry about it. It's true. Almost everything we eat today are hybrids. Hybridization is a natural process. The grapefruit is a hybrid of the orange, and the pomelo hybrid means the offspring of two different species. And we can't create hybrids that nature couldn't create itself. And many of the hybrids that we eat today are things that first showed up in nature, and then somebody said, hey, that's good. Let's do more of that. Let's make more of that, more of those, or whatever it is. And so there's nothing wrong with hybrids. The fact that hybrids are sweeter, yes, of course, people bred fruits to be sweeter because it tastes better. In most cases, more sugar also means more nutrients. So you don't have to worry about this at all. Most fruits have a low glycemic load, which means they have a short-lived and relatively small impact on blood sugar. A healthy body then rebalances everything this isn't something you have to worry about. You're far worse off eating bread, pasta, any processed food, your fruits. Even today, even if they're not the original varieties, there's nothing better for us. Okay, nothing better. Jared says, can you please give an explanation of how the gut's related to allergies? Yes, I think I did. But allergies are when the immune system is overwhelmed. So when your gut doesn't work very well, you are constantly taking incompletely digested proteins into the bloodstream, and your body reacts to those. There's an immune response to that. So when your gut works perfectly, you're going to have far fewer allergies. When your body is less affected by having, to do all this work, less pushed to the edge by constantly having to do work it wouldn't otherwise need to do, then it's going to be less able to deal with the allergens, these substances that some bodies react to. Some of you know this, but many years ago I had 57 allergies, and today I have none. Okay, and that's because I was able to give my body the chance. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. Give my body the chance to cleanse and heal itself. And so now there's no allergies where there used to literally be, more than 4.5 dozen of them. Anybody can accomplish the same thing if they're willing to do what they need to do. That's getting the body clean and keeping it clean by eating only those things that actually belong in the body. How does one heal toenail fungus? The same as anything else. We give the body the chance to heal. So it's not, there's anything that directly deals with the toenail fungus is probably a toxic substance that is killing the fungus. And there may be times where you choose to do that, but understand there's only one central nervous system design, and so things that are toxic to the fungus are toxic to you at the same time. And so we don't need to do that. Hello, buddy. All we need to do is meet the body's needs as well as we can, and the body will heal everything when it has the chance to. And that's been my experience and the experience of many, many other people. So, for me, there are no specific remedies. I don't use anything. There's no need for herbs. There's no need for any substances of any kind. When I have anything at all, I simply fast, and that accomplishes everything. You're going to fall down in the crack there, buddy. That accomplishes everything I needed to. That's all I need to do. Okay. More cats. Yes, indeed. There are 5 kittens here. In case you just joined, there are 5 kittens, and these are 2 of the 5. 3 of them have proven to be pretty friendly at this point. The other 2, there's one that's just out of arm's reach. I would pick it up and bring it over here, but I can't quite reach him without getting up. One of them is injured and is sitting up there right in front of me, but up in the shade in a plant box, in a planter, because he injured his leg last night, got himself stuck in this plant right behind me. He got his leg, actually, it's not that one, it's that one. He got his leg caught in one of those places where the branches come down, and he couldn't get it out. And so I think he must have been there all night. He looked really beat up and worn down. And when I found him this morning, and so now he had some food, and now he's just resting. He looks like he's asleep over there. I hope so, because he seemed to be in some pretty serious pain. All right, let's see. Hi, Loren. How much time do I need to water fast to rebuild my stomach bacteria and stomach acid? Is 10 days enough? Well, each case is different, and there's no way to know exactly what you need. But I'm guessing everybody would rather see the cats than me. I know I would rather see the cats than me, so I'm going to give you the view of the cats whenever I can. Yeah, each case is different. Generally speaking, I would allow 21 days minimum, if it's possible to do that, because you're always going to get the best results with at least 21 days. And that's why very few people come here and do less than that. Hello there, buddy. Hello. Pretty cute, huh? And I'm not just talking about me. I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about the cats too. All right. How could we see Gazelle in one of your live streams? Could we see Gazelle in one of Well, that depends on Gazelle. She is not all that interested, in being in front of the camera most of the time. She's kind of shy and a little bit reluctant to take the limelight. So she is, of course, welcome, and I'll invite her to join me next week if she's willing to. Maybe we can talk a little bit about her experience with type 1 diabetes and what's happened for her living on fruit and fasting 3 times here at Tanglewood. Dude, your face is in the other guy's crotch. I hope that's good for both of you. All right, let's see here. Jared says, I saw the plants move. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I was just holding on tight, waiting to see how big it got. John says, hi, Loren, for people who eat tons of junk food but are stick thin, what's going on there exactly? Shouldn't all that garbage be collecting in the body? Well, sometimes, but what happens, there are lots of possibilities. One possibility is we have a situation where the body's not very efficient. And so the digestion may not be very good, absorption may not be very good. We have another situation where we've got high sugar content and all kinds of toxic garbage. And so some bodies, in some cases, the body will simply ramp up, this is chai, will ramp up the metabolism to out-process that stuff as quickly as possible, keeping people skinny. So, hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. I don't know if you can hear him purring, but here, let me get you close to the microphone. He's purring his little head off. The orange one was doing the same thing. Okay, let's see. I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out where I was. There we are. T. Lion says, fasting to cure your lymphatic system and kidneys. What do you recommend? Well, I recommend fasting for 21 days or more, depending on how serious the situation is. We see amazing things. We had a gentleman here last session with advanced stage 4 lymphoma. That is care of the lymphatic system. Off the cable, please. And I just love cables. I don't know why. And he came in with these massive tumors around his jawline. We have lymph nodes in here, and these were all huge, like huge knobs, like an apple stuck to the side. Like an apple stuck to the side of the face. He had the same thing in the lymph nodes in his armpits, in his groin, and as a result of fasting, I think he went like 22 days. Virtually all of that disappeared. They all went down, almost completely disappeared. And then, unfortunately, he went back and ate junk food and smoked cigarettes and wound up, recreating everything. But he had almost completely eliminated those symptoms. When he started out, he looked disfigured because of the size of these giant tumors. Change view a little bit. There you go. He had almost completely eliminated this stuff, and then he recreated it and actually killed himself as a result. He died. I mean, he was dealing with a life-threatening situation where they told him he wasn't going to survive. He probably could have changed that because he had almost completely eliminated the tumors, but he recreated them. So fasting is the way. Fasting is the way to do it. All right. Hey there. Look who it is. How you doing, man? Good to see you. I'm doing great. I hope, the kitties are doing great too. They're not talking, they're just purring. But I'm glad to see you, Rainey. John says, wondering what the cats at Tanglewood eat. No, I haven't talked about this. The cats eat canned meat. Fresh meat would be best. Frankly, I'm not really willing to deal with it. It's not so easy to do, to get the right quantities. It's a constant thing. Now he's underneath the laptop. So instead, we buy canned meat. It's not optimal, but they're healthy. They all have beautiful coats. The same with the 3 adults that live here. We now have 8 cats temporarily. Um, no animal should eat dry food, and so we don't use any dry food at all. It's all wet food, and that's far better. Of course, fresh would be best. All right. President 6 says, what do you think of celery juice? I think it's green and wet, and I would prefer not to drink it. I'm not a fan of juices in general. I mean, understand that, I always thought it was funny that people seem to think that if you take a bunch of perfect food and run it through a machine, you get something that's better than what you started with. When in fact, we're oxidizing nutrients. We wind up with something that's overly concentrated. Here, let me give you the kitty view. We get something that's overly concentrated. We have something that's, really, I mean, it's imbalanced, it's fragmented. Nutrients oxidize at different rates, and that means some nutrients are no longer present or are hardly present, while others are still present in the same. Oops. So this is the other one I'm thinking about keeping, but we'll see. He's not at this point. He hasn't really warmed up yet to human touch so much. These cats were dropped off on our doorstep 2 weeks ago today, the night before we opened the session. There were 5 little kittens outside the front gate, and we know where they came from. The guy says, I didn't bring them over here. He just happened to be here delivering furniture that day. And these 5 little tiny kittens, 4-week-old kittens, maybe less, followed him a mile and a half from his house. Not so likely. Following his truck, moving it at normal speeds, not so likely. They didn't want to take care of them, and so they dropped them off. They knew that we would take care of them because that's what we do. And we're going to find homes for them. Hey, don't chew on that. We're going to find homes for them probably in the next week or so. Most of them. No, you can't chew on the cable. Stop. All right. Hey, stop that. All right. But there's no need. There's no need for juices of any kind. Celery juice isn't magic. Yes, you're going to get some symptomatic relief from it, but hey, stop that. But you don't need to do it. Okay, let's see. Hirache says, fasting has honestly saved my life on many levels. I currently have an abscess in my upper left jaw, and it's decreased in size in a day, and the pain has subsided substantially. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, fasting is, again, it's simply giving the body the optimal conditions to cleanse and heal itself. And so if healing can happen, fasting is going to be the single most efficient and most effective way to do that. There are times where the body's not going to heal because it's too late, because there's been too much damage, because the body's too out of balance, because it's too dehydrated, et cetera, et cetera. But if healing can happen, it gives the body the optimal conditions to allow that to happen. And so we see amazing results here all the time. Okay, I'm trying to read your name. Manyeno Mambo. What about a mono food a day? Well, that's fine. I mean, you can eat 1 food a day if you choose to, but don't tell yourself, don't kid yourself that there's any advantage to doing this. There isn't. It's perfectly, each time you eat, you should eat 1 thing. But when you eat again hours from now, you're in no significant way being affected by whatever you ate 4 or 5 hours earlier. So there's no need to eat only 1 thing in a day. 1 thing at a time, absolutely. Although there are people that don't understand that and think it's ridiculous and absurd, and that our bodies can handle whatever we choose to do. The very simple, clear truth is it's not so. And animals in nature virtually always eat mono meals. It is easier for them. Again, the chimpanzees and bonobos, who have on average about 75 different foods available to them all year, eat 1 thing at a time. Okay, we're going to get the best results doing exactly the same thing. So come on in. I'm just noticing I only have about 7 minutes left. It is time for me to head out of here because I've got to get ready to give a lecture in just a couple minutes here to a full house here. And I have to get my internet cable out of here before the kittens eat it to pieces. Couple quick things I'll remind you of. 1, there is still an opportunity for the next probably 48 hours. If you know you're going to come to Tanglewood, you don't know when, but you know you're coming. If you pay now, you can take a 10% discount. Chances are good prices aren't going to be that low again. That's necessitated. We're offering that because we're in a situation due to PayPal shutting us down and holding a bunch of funds. Second thing, Fruit Festival, March 1st to March 8th. It is amazing. Tanglewood is a spectacularly beautiful place. The climate's incredible. Blue skies every day in March. Warm weather. Probably not so for many of you wherever you are now. And we're going to have over 50 different organic fruits as we did last year. We're going to spend a day at an amazing beach. We're going to spend a day at the highest waterfall in Costa Rica. It is well worth the small investment. And I promise you, it's going to be life-changing for some of you. There's going to be amazing education. There's going to be yoga classes. There's going to be bonfires. We have some live music. If you don't want to come for just a week, we have a yoga retreat happening the week after the festival. So you can come for the festival, stick around, and spend a week doing yoga and Reiki. I have 2 yoga teachers. They're going to be teaching 2 classes a day, I believe, and Reiki training as well. So you'll leave here with a Reiki 1 certification. And it's going to be awesome. We know this yoga teacher because she was here. She's fasted with me, and she was here last year to do the Fruit Festival, to teach every day. The guests love her. They love her. She's a fantastic teacher. Everyone was in awe of the classes. I guess those are the primary things. Again, the big project is still happening. If you're ready and you want to live in paradise and co-create something amazing with us, you have an opportunity now to save 20% on your lot. Contact me, Loren at tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com. I got to go. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. I am here tomorrow live in Spanish at 9 a.m. Costa Rica time. And if you've enjoyed this, if you find this is useful to you, I'm going to ask you to help me out by doing a couple things. 1, give it the thumbs up. And 2, feel free to share this on your own page. You can share it on your Facebook page, for instance, or anywhere else you like. Okay, I'll be here every week that I'm able to, doing the same thing, helping to get this vital information out. Bottom line, simple fact is that you can feel and function amazingly well, just as I have now for more than 30 years. You can do exactly the same thing. If you are willing to do what you need to do, I can teach you exactly how to do that, and there are no limits. Okay, if you want to create a no limits life, come on back and come on down, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care, and Happy New Year. Bye-bye.